Guys, we made it. The final episode. We made it to the cottage. Thank God. All of the pain and suffering and turmoil and years of suffering are over for now. But seriously, I honestly cannot believe the show is over. I feel like that was the quickest 5 weeks of my entire life. This will be my last recap video of season 1. Thank you guys all for being here so much. It's been so much fun recapping all of these episodes with you guys. As always, comment down below your thoughts on this episode or just anything from the season so far. I don't want to be done talking about these characters. I already know the post-show depression is gonna hit so hard, but that's tomorrow's problem. Let's talk about the episode. This episode starts with Scott Hunter's acceptance speech at the MLH Awards, which I was not expecting. I thought we were gonna start right at the airport, mostly because I forgot that this happens, but I think this was actually the perfect way to connect last episode and this episode and like close off the Scott and Kip storyline. And I loved that they showed all of Kip's friends at the Kingfisher watching it. I thought it was so cute, except why wasn't Kip at the awards? In the book, he's at the awards, so that surprised me. But it makes sense for like budget and scheduling reasons, I'm sure, but that took me off guard. Except, like I said, I loved it. I thought it was so cute. Elena, that is my girl. She is such a real one. It was also cracking me up that the background at the awards was like 3 ADR people shuffling around and coughing. Who is iPad Kid coughing at the MLH Awards? And I just love Scott Hunter, and I loved his speech a lot. I don't know much about the NHL, but I have heard that they are notoriously homophobic. So F them, because they've been trying to make money off of this franchise for weeks. And I hope that the people at the NHL who are watching and heard that speech and are in charge of things like this look inward, because that speech was incredible and very eye-opening, because you know that there are probably many professional athletes who feel like that, and it actually breaks my heart and makes me so angry. But then we get the airport pickup scene. Save me, airport pickup scene, save me. Just incredible. I love that Ilya walks out of the airport. I've never seen someone look less inconspicuous. Dressing like that is not what I would have recommended for blending in, but whatever. And them driving in the car, I think, was perfect. So much of this show is a perfect adaptation to me, ripped straight from the book, but something about this episode specifically, everything was just exactly how I pictured it. Everything, every detail, it was just so accurate, including the scene where they're driving the car. I thought this was so cute, so well done. I loved the awkwardness of it all still, the small talk, nervous, excited, them saying that they're terrified, the holding hands. Oh my God. I genuinely was like tearing up already just watching them sitting in the car together. I'm just so emotionally invested in these characters. I can't even handle it, honestly. The euphoria I felt just seeing them happy in this episode, honestly embarrassing. My face when Ilya asked if Shane's parents were going to be a problem. Oh, honey, you got a big storm coming. That house is stunning, by the way. It did make me laugh because Shane has such a phobia of windows the entire show, and then his house is literally glass. But it was gorgeous. I thought it was so cute that he said he bought Cokes. Missed opportunity for there to be tuna melt ingredients in the house, but that's okay. And then them knocking over the lamp, there is no way that that was scripted. That was 100% on accident, and they just kept it in. That laugh, that was not Ilya laughing, that was Connor Story laughing, but I loved it so much. I thought it was so cute. I love when stuff like that happens and then it makes the final cut. Then we have them both admitting that they haven't been with other people since the last time they were together. So good. And not as much of a big deal on Shane's part, TBH, but that's big for Ilya. That man is committed. He's in it now. I also thought the bellboy line was so cute and funny. Also was giving, not in character, it was kind of giving Hudson instead of Shane, but I really liked it. I thought it was so cute. I love when we get to see Shane's playful side come out a little bit because it's so rare. And then Ilya saying he thinks he knows how the staff likes to be treated after all of these years. I just love when they flirt with each other. Like I said, just seeing them happy and flirting and being together. Who needs drugs? And then Shane trying to put down the curtains and Ilya putting them back up. They don't have to hide anymore, baby.
Shine, step into the light. I'm not ever going back.
Did you guys see that Harry Styles is back? Big day. Big day for me. Went to the cottage, woke up the next day. Harry Styles is back. I'm on cloud 9. Also, something about Shane, he is on his knees. I would like a running tally of every time that man drops to his knees in this show. I would genuinely like to know because I lost count. This whole episode too was just so domestic. I loved seeing them just do normal things together, like when Shane's making the burgers. Also, I am Team Shane. Why would you cut a burger recipe in half? It's really not that serious, especially if it calls for like a pound of ground beef. You're not going to only use half a pound of ground beef. Like, leave the kid alone, okay? He was following a recipe. You guys are professional athletes. You can't eat 8 burgers. Just put half in the fridge for tomorrow. Justice for Shane's cooking. Then we see them by the fire. Oh, just incredible work all around. Obsessed with the stank face that Ilya gives Shane when Rose texts him. And I think the line, not too gay to fuck Rose Landry, is so funny. I just love when they get jealous. It's always so good. And then, of course, the iconic loon scene. And what if I got a loon tattoo? Then what? Then what? Because I kind of want one really bad. Not gonna lie. Also, Shane being able to do the bird sound is the most Shane thing in the world. You know, he had a bird watching phase when he was a kid. So cute. And that Ilya is like, oh, you speak bird too? And he says fluent. Then we get like the meat and potatoes of the fire scene. Once again, I would die for Ilya Rozanov. I want to kiss him on the forehead and tell him I love him and give him a hug. We see them sitting by the fire, and so cute that his head is in Shane's lap like that. Obsessed. And he tells Shane about his mom and how he found her after she OD'd. Which, by the way, in the book, he says that's the first time he's ever told somebody that he's the one that found her. God, literally ripping my heart out. And then she was so funny and so beautiful, but so sad. I have things I want to say, but they are spoilers for the second book, so I can't say them. But like, if you've read the second book, you know that that just makes it hurt so much more. Also, Shane just like not really saying anything. Like, he does, but I was waiting for him to be like, I'm so sorry about that. Anything I can do for you? I know he's like neurodivergent, so I totally get that. And I never know what to say in those kinds of situations either, but it was just making me laugh because Ilya's like pouring his heart out, and Shane's like, that's sad. Then we have the cut to Ilya straight snoozing. My boy was conked out. That made me laugh so hard. I don't know why. I think I just wasn't expecting it. It was so jarring. And the I like you scene. I know they're like 20. How old are they at this point? How old are they? Okay. So they were 17 in 2008, which means they were born in 1991. And I think it's 2017 right now. So they're 26. Okay. But it just feels so teenage love to me, a lot of this, which makes sense because they are each other's first loves in that sense, you know, romantic love, first relationship. I just like love all those little teenage love moments. Like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but even later when Shane is like boyfriend or the I like you, it's just so sweet and wholesome. Okay, then we see them playing video games, which first of all, such a slay to be on the cover of the game. That was such a good like F you, I'm literally on the cover of the game. But also, I would imagine that Shane obviously already had the game at the cottage, and I'm just picturing him shopping and seeing Ilya on the cover of the game and buying it just because Ilya's on the cover. Now I'm just writing fan fiction in my head, but in my mind, that's what happened. And the phone call scene, this was pretty raunchy in the book too, but they were not holding back at all in this finale. Holy shit, I was like, damn. Loki, even hotter than it was in the book. Whew, good heavens. He was going to town. Also, so loud. There is no way that Hayden did not hear anything or think anything was wrong, especially because we know Hayden is a horn dog. He definitely was like, what the hell is going on? And then Shane didn't even fully catch his breath before he went back on the phone. He was still panting. Guys, could you be any more obvious? Jeez. And then Ilya slapping Shane, which apparently I read was improvised. Connor like slapped Hudson, and then Hudson, of course, was like, yeah, I'm into it. Let's do it. Those two are so freaked out. They really are. Match made in heaven. Perfect casting. BFFs from the universe. Like, they are so perfect for this because they are both just so freaked out. I don't really have anything to say about the scene where they're playing soccer, except I just think it's so cute when we see them get to be competitive with each other. It reminded me of the staircase scene, which is one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. I just think it is the cutest thing ever. And at this point, my cheeks were hurting because I was smiling so much. I genuinely was watching like this. I probably looked like a freak because I just could not stop smiling. I literally was just like the whole episode. Then the couch scene where Ilya says that he could marry Svetlana, which is Shane's worst nightmare, by the way. Like, that is the worst possible thing that could happen to Shane. Like, that is his nightmare because he knows that Ilya is bi and could theoretically go and fall in love with a woman and marry her and be public with her, and it would be no problem. But Shane doesn't have that option, and he's completely in love with Ilya. So that is like genuinely his worst nightmare. I can't imagine how he felt when Ilya said that. And his acting, I say this literally every single video I know, his acting is just incredible. He is so talented. It's so subtle. And especially for Shane's character, where he's so in his head, it's so impressive that you can see truly what's going on in his head from Hudson's acting. And I just love the I have this problem part. It's so good. I will say though, Ilya mentions Shane's freckles, which love. So cute. But in the book, he says I think he says they're stunning, and then he says like they take his breath away, but there's like a language barrier. So he's like, how do you say take my breath? So cute. So I wanted that specific dialogue, but that's okay. As long as we got a freckle mention, I'm happy. Also, the double ever. Actually, I'm sick to my stomach. He says, I don't ever want that problem to ever go away. He meant that shit. Never, ever, ever do I want you to be out of my life. I'm not okay. I'm also just such a sucker for a don't marry him trope. Maybe that's toxic of me, but it just hits every single time. I don't care. And then the interlocked toes, they're freaked out. Obviously, I'm obsessed, but it's just the little things like that that get me. And then we see that Shane has literally been up all night thinking of a solution. Ilya said, maybe I'll marry Svetlana, and Shane was like, I am not sleeping until I think of a solution. That is not Ilya marrying that woman. Period. He does not play. The I love you scene. I will genuinely freak the fuck out if I think about this scene too much. Connor's acting. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. The way that he starts crying and he looks so anguished but so in love, it's just, I can't even describe like the face he made. It was so gut-wrenching, even though it's a happy thing. Just his face, oh my god, that is gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. So insane. And then you have Shane, classic Shane. He just goes, holy shit. Valid, honestly valid. And then I love that you could hear Ilya start to backtrack, and he says, I think he says like I mean, and then Shane cuts him off and says I love you too. Sick. And then the fact that he says it in Russian first, it's like build up the courage. He's saying it in Russian and then he says it in English. I will genuinely crash out right now. And then does it fucking kill you too? Not anymore. That whole scene, genuinely, I literally was like I couldn't breathe. Okay, the next morning when they're like out looking at the water and the sun's rising, it's so cute. But why does it look exactly like Katniss in the beginning of Catching Fire when she's wearing that fuck ass poncho? Literally spot the difference. Then we see them making love, and I mean making love. Holy crap. And when he loves you so much, he wants to start a foundation in honor of your mother. She would have loved you like I love you. She would have loved you like I love you. I need a cigarette. And not only that, but the way he says it, impeccable line delivery. I was on the floor. Then we have the most insane vibe switch up ever. We go from she would have loved you like I loved you to Ilya doing handstands in the lake. It was giving when you're at a pool party in middle school and you want to impress the cute guy, so you do handstands. That's what he was doing. So cute, so wholesome, but just I was dying laughing when it cut to him with just his feet in the air. I was also laughing because in the book, Shane's house has a dock and that's where all this outside stuff happens. But I guess the house that they filmed at didn't have a dock. So then it's just Shane sitting with a rock up his butt. That looked so uncomfortable. But I thought when Ilya was like, give me a kiss, so cute. And to go from we didn't even kiss to then Ilya being like, give me a kiss. I'm just obsessed with them. When I saw them walking up to the house and the camera was in the kitchen shooting out the windows, horror movie music started playing in my head. I genuinely was hearing the theme from Psycho. I was getting so scared. I knew what was coming and I just, oh my god. It's also just hysterical to me that Shane's dad peels out of there so quick. I get it. I probably also would have run from the scene of the crime, but the fact that he peeled out of there so quick, it's just hilarious. I'm surprised there weren't tire marks in the driveway after he drove away. And then they play the original music from the first couple episodes, full body chills. And guys, stay with me. I know this isn't the right time because Shane is freaking out, but they looked so good. They obviously have looked good the entire show, but something about them standing in their bathing suits with the lighting coming through the windows, they looked fabulous. They looked so good. And you know what's crazy? I just assumed that they got these roles and then they had months and months to get in shape. No, I was listening to a podcast that Connor was on, and he said he found out he got this part like a week before he flew out to go do it. So they just looked like that already. Sick. But anyway, Shane is freaking out, and every anxious overthinker catastrophizer needs and Ilya. The way that he was such a rock during this and was just able to calm him down so much. Incredible. When Shane says, "This is literally my nightmare," and Ilya says, "Okay, then maybe it's time to wake up." And then the leg hug. Sick. Truly sick. Then we have them getting in the car, which is another instance of me being on Shane's side, and maybe it's because I am also an anxious overthinker catastrophizer, but I agree that Ilya didn't need to wear the Boston shirt. Okay, yes, obviously they know Ilya plays for Boston, but he could have put on a different t-shirt. Okay, he didn't have any t-shirts. There wasn't a single Montreal Metro shirt that he could have thrown on instead. I'm with Shane. I know that 10-minute drive to his parents' house was the longest 10 minutes of Shane's life, but I loved holding hands on the gear shift. I'm such a sucker for that. I think it's so romantic. I eat it up every single time. The way that they're standing when they get to the parents' house, they are such losers. Why are they doing the "I threw up"? You are grown men. Why are you standing like that? I genuinely was laughing out loud. Another small change, but I liked that they changed it from his dad getting dishwasher pods. That's what he's doing in the book. They ran out of dishwasher pods and he's going to get some at Shane's house, to the charger, because I just feel like that does make more sense, especially if they thought Shane was out of town on this like silent retreat or whatever he said. Oh, I thought that was so cute too when Shane is like, "What? Does that sound like a lie?" And Ilya was like, "If it was anybody else in the world, it would sound like a lie, but for you, it could be the truth." I love that. But that does make more sense. Like dishwasher pods, I'd be like, "Girl, just go to Walmart." Where your charger, it's like, okay, you know your charger's down the street. You don't think your son's home or whatever. You just want to run in and grab it. Much more believable. Also, speaking of Shane's dad, I really liked that we got to see a little bit more of him at the end of this episode. I feel like he's really just been like a very background up until now. We haven't really like seen much of his personality. And can I say something? Why is Shane's dad kind of I don't know. He looked kind of good in that t-shirt. Like, okay, he's handsome. And I loved when he brought out the Russian vodka and he was like bonding with Ilya a little bit. Okay, wait, we have to bring it back to the ginger ale alcohol drink metaphor that they have going on in this show, because Shane tries to get ginger ale all of episode 4, and the only place he gets it is at Ilya's house. Ilya says earlier in the season when they're in Vegas that it's really hard to find good Russian vodka in the States. I know they're in Canada now, but then he gets Russian vodka at Shane's house with Shane's family. It's just genius. Okay, but when they're talking about their relationship and David asks Ilya about being a womanizer and he says that that's not untrue, and they say that, you know, Ilya likes both. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe that they actually use the term bi or bisexual at all in the show, which I just think is weird. Like, I wonder if that was intentional or not, because it's just weird to me. They mention it so many times and they say it in different ways, that he likes men and women, or that he likes women and Shane, and he doesn't struggle with his sexuality really like Shane does. So I just find it weird that they never actually just say he's bi. Maybe I'm overthinking it, like maybe it wasn't intentional, but if it was intentional, I'm just curious why they would do that. I don't know, it's like they wouldn't be uncomfortable with bisexuality in this story, so like, let's call it what it is. We need all the bi representation we can get, okay? Let's make it obvious. The scene with Shane's mom, first of all, the fact that he brings out a sweater for her, he is such a nice boy. I love Shane so much. When he said, I really tried, but I couldn't help it, I genuinely, I have a stomach ache just thinking about it. Oh my god, the saddest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. And then thank God she says that it's okay and he does not need to apologize for that. But then, kind of interesting, you have Shane's mom say, "I'm sorry if I made you feel like you couldn't tell me that," because I feel like a lot of times in that type of situation, you would just be like, it's okay, like you didn't mean it, whatever. But for Shane to be like, I forgive you and I love you, you know, he forgives her, but he is like, yeah, you did make me feel like that. I really liked that. I feel like that's not something you would normally see in this kind of scenario. We go back inside and we have Ilya, unbothered king. And can you blame him? Think about Ilya's backstory and the turmoil that he goes through, his messed up family. He gets to Shane's house. He's like, okay, this is totally fine. They love you. We're going to figure it out. No big deal. No threats. Like, we're good. He starts chowing down, and I don't blame him. When was the last time that man had a home cooked meal? And he's having a great day. He got a boyfriend and a family in one weekend. He's chilling. He's happy. He is unbothered. Love that for him. Which he actually says in the book, they get back to the cottage after being at the parents' house, and Shane says, that was the weirdest day of my life. And Ilya says, that was the best day of my life. I'll freak out. Obsessed with Yuna immediately getting in her bag. She's like, let me call Rolex. Let me call the big sponsors. They're going to love this. She would have had him in a pride parade like that. She was ready to get her bag. Love a Scott Hunter mention. Fun fact, the reason why I was surprised that Kip was at the bar in the beginning of the episode is because in the book, Kip goes to the awards with Scott and is in the audience when he does his speech. But Ilya is also there. And after the awards, a gay club in Vegas does a Scott Hunter night, and Ilya goes to the gay club for Scott Hunter night and hangs out with Scott and Kip. And Scott's kind of like, Ilya Rozanov, what is he doing here? Kind of weird, like kind of sus that he would come to the gay club for Scott Hunter night, but whatever. Again, I'm sure they cut it for just like budget reasons or scheduling reasons or whatever, but that is something I would have loved to see. Maybe we'll get it in the future as a flashback. But yes, I just wanted to paint that picture for everybody that when he says he talked to Scott Hunter, it was at a gay club in Vegas. And then the whole little scene where Ilya calms him down, I really loved. They show his dad, and you can see that his dad is looking at him in concern when Shane starts to put his head down, and then he says, I'm freaking out. And then you see Ilya calm him down. Sick. But then they show his parents again, and you see them smiling. That's all you want for your kid. At the end of the day, you just want someone that loves them and gets them. So sweet. And then I love when she's like, since their rookie season, and the dad is like, summer before. Just so cute. And then the feet touching under the table, the way that they're able to do so many parallels and callbacks is so good. And I saw people clowning on Shane for wearing boat shoes. Again, just like Kip's jacket in the last episode, this is historically accurate costuming. Every rich white boy in my high school in 2016 wore boat shoes. Okay, like they were in big time. The end credits. A perfect 2 minutes of cinema. Genuinely obsessed. I think it was the perfect ending shot to literally watch them drive off into the sunset. Couldn't have asked for anything better. And just seeing them talk and hold hands and smile and have their arms around each other. So unbelievably good. I'm so glad that they got season 2. Actually, season 3. I heard it's going to be 3 seasons. So happy. But even if we weren't getting that ending shot would have been perfect. I also loved the little moment right at the end of the end credit scene footage. Shane grabs Ilya's face and screams. And I read that was actually them breaking character again. That was just Hudson grabbing Connor's face and screaming. But Jacob Tierney said he left it in because he thought it could show Shane's playful side that you don't really get to see. So I thought that was such a fun choice. I'm really glad that they left that in. And then that's it. The end of season 1. Genuinely one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. One of my favorite shows of all time. So incredible. I can't wait for season 2, although I did hear it's not going to be until 2027, which is a bummer, but I get it. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, so it'll be worth the wait. But yes, last episode, the post hyperfixation depression is already kicking in. I can feel it. Again, comment your thoughts on this episode or this season or anything, literally anything. Like I said, I just love talking about this universe, this show, the books, the actors, anything. I love talking to you guys in the comments. It's so much fun. And thank you for being here with me watching all of these episodes. It has been incredible. It's just been really fun to be a part of this community. And I've had the best time. Subscribe if you want to stick around, see what else we get into. I'll also have all my other social medias down below if you want to find me anywhere else. And thank you so much for watching.